All right, guys. So here's a quick video. Again, like I'm not biased like that. Like when I study the history of mankind, I don't go into it with any assumptions. I just go into it thinking that I'm about to learn something. So when I look at history, and if you look at the entire history of mankind, at least what we know, you'll find out that every single culture borrowed from the previous culture. So it's like it's pretty much a universal truth about this reality. Every single culture. Yes, that does mean the Jews. The Jews borrowed from the Babylonians, and they borrowed from uh, other cultures. This is like facts. They borrowed from the Rome. They borrowed from the Romans. And that's what the New Testament is. The New Testament is the Jews borrowing ideas from the Romans and creating this new concept. And so there's no original anything. Like, as far as we know, the history of mankind, nothing is original. And you'll hear even Christians admit that nothing is original, but they always leave special pleading. Special pleading is when you say everything is one way except this one thing. For example, someone might say all cars are trash except for Toyota. You know, that is the definition of special pleading. Oh, and I can go on and on about examples of special pleading. Oh, chocolate chip ice cream is the best, and all others are trash. McDonald's is the best fast food restaurant, and all others are trash. Or all politicians are horrible except Donald Trump. Yeah, this is special pleading all the way. And when you look at Christianity, it is the epitome of special pleading. All religious books are false except for my one Bible, my one book that I didn't see get wrote. This is Christianity. This is Christianity. It literally is special pleading. Everything else is false except for my one ideology. I mean, and this is the epitome of special pleading. Like, Christianity only exists because you have to special plead. All other cultures, all other religions, everything else is wrong except for my one. You know, imagine someone coming up to you and saying, all other animals are have no souls except for dogs. Oh, dogs are the only animals that have souls. What would you tell that person? What would you tell that person if they came to you and said all other animals do not have a soul except dogs? You probably think they were nuts. I mean, I can't change reality. I can only accept it for what it is. And again, like, and I've heard Christians use this analogy of a football game. God is watching the football game, but he doesn't control anything. But see, here's the thing. When you're watching a game that was recorded, none of the players have a choice in what they're going to do. I mean, they don't. You don't, that quarterback, like, I'm a Charger fan. Justin Herbert had once you watch his previous game that he has already played, he doesn't have a choice anymore. The choices were already made. They were pre-made. All he's doing is just playing out the same choices he made. He doesn't have a choice. He doesn't have a choice. Horrible playoff game the last time they were in the playoffs against the Texans. Horrible passes. But if I go and rewatch that game, Justin Herbert's going to make the exact same choices. And he a free choice, that in of itself is silly, because a lot of Christians will say you have free choice. And that's silly to me. Free choice isn't even possible in this reality, and neither is free will. And free choice is not free will, because in a Christian's head, everyone has free choice. You can choose whatever you want, but free choice is not free will. You know, and I've even heard a Christian say a prisoner and a slave has free will. Well, that's not even possible, because again, free will is based off the ability to choose something without outside influence. Therefore, prisoners can't, or slaves too. Neither of them can ever have free will. It's not possible. It's just not possible. And that's pretty much the truth about every living creature. No living creature has free will. None of them, even God. If a God exists, they can't have free will. It's not possible because God has outside influences. God has Satan. Like, even if the Bible is true, Satan is an outside influence who has influenced God in the Bible. Job was a great example. Abraham was a great example. Abraham literally convinced God to not kill everyone. If there's one alive, will you save him? He literally influenced God. So God can be influenced. And here's a Christian talking about prayer. Okay, so if prayer works, why are there so many people leaving Christianity? What if prayer does work, but the Hindu prayer works? Hinduism is still in the top 5 religions. What if Islam is true? What if Islam is the one true version of the Abrahamic religions? Now, how do you say the other two Abrahamic religions are false when they, at minimum, they halfway believe in what you believe? They believe in the Father. They all three of you agree that the Father is real. The only difference is y'all think the Son is God. But what if they're right? Because you're going to reason that the Bible is true because it's the most popular. I've heard that before. Illogical, but let's run with that. If that which is most popular is true, well, based on all three religions, that would mean Jesus isn't God, because what is most popular in the Abrahamic religions is God the Father, and He is God, and that's it. So there, I mean, we can do this all day. This irrational, illogical thinking that uh, literally permeates Christianity as a whole. It's literally all illogical thinking. It is, and it's unfortunate. It's cult-like thinking too. Um, Again, like, let's talk about. I'm gonna drop aliens on your head. Let's just. And I'm willing to bet that there's Christians right now in this world that if we were able to travel through space and time and visit other planets, y'all would bring the Bible trying to convert aliens, someone from another planet, to Christianity. Other planets, though, to be real with you, I don't believe that there's life on other planets that is equally or more intelligent than us. I know that there are other living creatures like us who are at least as smart as us or smarter than us. That's like, the only people that doubt that, they just have biases against it because it's not something that they want to be true. But if you're a logical person and who studies astronomy at any capacity, you'll realize that this world is much bigger than what we think. It's like, consider the fish in a bowl. The fish in a bowl, all he knows is what's in his bowl. He knows nothing else. But the truth is, there's an entire world beyond what he's experiencing. And this is actually pointed out greatly in the Men in Black movie, the one of the last scenes of the movie. I think it's Jay. He opens the locker and there's this little civilization of creatures, and he gives them a watch, and they are, oh hail King Jay, oh hail King Jay. And of course Jay is kind of dumbfounded, and he's almost wild, and he kind of is captivated by them because they worship him, so to speak. And it's almost hard to consider and really put in your head that there's more to reality than what we think. And this is played out because once they pan out, J and K, their world is inside of a locker, which is inside of a locker, which is inside of a locker. And the world it just keeps getting bigger. And this if you really, really just ponder on that, if there is a God, there's a God bigger than that God. Like, that's like, so it's like each realm has a God essentially, and there's many realms. There's many of them. There's many, many, many realms. Like, I wouldn't say the multiverse is necessarily true, but I do lean towards that being a possibility if I was to be honest with you. Although I don't necessarily hold to that, and I don't need to hold to that to know for a fact that there is absolutely life on other planets. And they probably have their own gods. I mean, if you were being honest with yourself, and if you're being honest with yourself, not one of those other planets have a bunch of people proclaiming Jesus, or people dying on a cross. They probably don't even know anything about the Bible. They know nothing about any religions that we have, because at the end of the day, all of the religions that we have were just conjured up. Now, there are some things that are true about them. I mean, mostly just locations, but outside of locations, there isn't much true in these books, and they all tell the same story. That's the other thing. They all really tell the same story, just slightly different. Like, at the end of the day, that's what it is. Uh, all the religions tell you to get a hold of your sex life, and to be a good person. They all say the same stuff. It's just slightly worded differently. Oh, Jesus spoke in parables. Big deal. Read Confucius. You know, it's all the same, and yet you're telling me that only one of them is true. When I read it, it's all the same. I've read the Bhagavad Gita. I'm not a Hindu expert, but I know what the Hindus teach. Um, they teach this idea that you shouldn't have desires. Release your need for desires. Can you imagine if like, we talk about how the utility of Christianity, it got me off this, it got me off this, I'm no longer hooked on cocaine or meth or whatever. Great. Uh, you fail to realize that if you truly applied Hinduism in your life, you would be proclaiming the same stuff, just from a different god. Like, again, Hinduism and Christianity, when you compare these two religions, you realize that there was no question, they had to borrow from Hinduism. They borrowed from Hinduism, although Hinduism isn't even original, a lot of the stuff they teach. But at the end of the day, Christianity borrowed from Hinduism. That is a fact. That is a fact. It is an absolute 1000% truth. The idea of sin, that came from Hinduism. Now, could it be original to Hinduism? I don't know. I haven't looked at every single ancient writing. I do know the earliest is the Sumerian text, and I'm not sure if there's a sin in that book, or tablets. But the Sumerians, they really are the pinnacle, because a lot of Christians, they want to say, well, who created you? And what ends up happening, it goes back to the first persons, and they assume there's a first person. So when you apply that same logic of who created you, where do you come from, and you apply that to religion, you come to see that the Sumerian tablets are the foundation of all religion. If there is no Sumerian tablets, there is no Christianity. If there's no Sumerian tablets, there's no Hinduism. If there's no Sumerian tablets, there's no Egyptian theology or mythology, however you want to say it. There is no Ra, there's no Jesus, there's no Allah, there's no Muhammad without the Sumerian tablets. The Sumerian tablets literally is where every other culture borrowed from. And this is why I say all cultures borrow from each other, because I know for a fact that someone borrowed from the Sumerians, probably the Hindus. I know there's Zoroastrianism, but I'm not going to go into Zoroastrianism, because I know that they also borrowed from someone else. The idea of hell is original to Zoroastrianism, which we know the Christians who wrote the Bible knew about it and copied it. So at the end of the day, yes, every single culture borrowed from each other. Now, I will say this. Um, Remote tribes, they don't borrow from anyone anymore, but their ideology is also, they you go far back enough, it was borrowed as well. So nothing is original. Nothing is original. Like, everything can be traced, but you just have to do your unbiased history lesson. That's it. That's it. I mean, I wish I could, and I know that your experiences as well hold you to what you believe, but I can guarantee you that your experiences are not proof for God. They could be proof potentially of ancestors. I mean, ancestor worship is old. And I know y'all don't want to go to this idea that that which is old is true. I mean, we can play that game. We're just going to end up not Christian. Like, however you want to make an argument, it's going to end up not a Christian argument because there is no logical argument to be a Christian. Many Christians even admit this because they'll say they didn't come to Christianity by reason, they had a personal experience. And if personal experience is true, again, this is where they special plead. All other personal experiences are not true except for mine. Oh, oh my God. They don't hear you. Do you hear yourself? Do you hear yourself when you say stuff like that? All personal experiences are false except mine and those who agree with me or have a similar experience as me. Man, I tell you, I wish, like, I need Christians to stop special pleading. It's not going to happen, but they really, if they were to do some self realization, they would realize that that's exactly what they're doing. They're special pleading. Your entire existence is special pleading. Like like even animals, like the animal kingdom, we are animals. Let's start with that first. But even with animals, uh, now not all Christians believe animals don't have a soul, but a good chunk of them do, or they think we're better than the animals in some way because of the Bible. That's silly to me. Like all these silly ideas, like we're better than animals because we can communicate. Do you know animals? If you like y'all, you it's such an assumption to think that we're better than animals when you could actually logically argue animals are better than us. Like no cap. No cap, animals are better than us because animals don't destroy the planet. And if there is a God, I would assume he cares more about the planet than anything else. Anything else. Nothing should matter more to a God than this planet and its ability to thrive. And humans have destroyed the planet and they keep doing it. So again, it's like this Bible can't be true because this God cares about humans who humans are on the same scale as a mosquito. What do I mean? I mean, if a creature on this planet dies and this planet still thrives, that thing is not necessary to exist, or that species. However you want to put it. If something is living and when it dies, um, the world still goes on normally or better, then that thing is, you could almost argue, is worthless. And that's mosquitoes. Mosquitoes. If mosquitoes all were gone, the world would go on fine. The same with humans. If humans were gone, the world would be better. So God should care more about the earth. But I'm gonna end it there. I could go on, but I'm gonna end it there, y'all. Just think about what I'm telling you. Be logical and peace.